Gantry girders. Mm. In the truss, if load acts at joints only, then the members are subjected to. So axial forces, answer is C. So in trusses, generally purlins are always kept at joints, and when purlins are kept at joints, then loads are also at joints, and our members are designed as axial members because forces are axial forces. But if purlins are in between the joints, then members will act as flexural members. Generally, the purlins are placed at the panel point so as to avoid. So just I mention it. So bending moment in principal rafter. Minimum pitch for GI sheet covering is to be maintained as. So we have answer as D 1 by 6. The minimum pitch for AC sheet, and we have answer as A 1 by 12. Generally, pitch is kept 1 by 6 if no load is there. For the trusses with no access, live load up to 10 degree, we have 0.75 kilonewton per meter square. That is 750 Newton per meter square. That is up to 10 degree. And after 10 degree, this value reduces by 20 Newton per meter square for each degree. So that here you can see 20 degree. So we are going to get that 0.75 minus 0.02 in bracket theta minus 10, and that value comes 0.55 kilonewton per meter square. Formula I have written over here. So here theta you are going to put 10, and then if you multiply it, then you will get 10 into 0.02. So you will get it as 0.2. So 0.75 minus 0.2, 55 kilonewton per meter square. India is divided into, we have that 4 zones. Before this, we have 5 zones. Now these are merged into 4. The minimum value of live load on the truss is dash dash kilonewton per meter square. So that is 400 Newton per meter square. Here we have kilonewton per meter square. So option is B, 0.4. So after this, if your angle is means you can find angle for 0.4 value, and after this, if your angle increases, then also we have to keep value at 0.4 kilonewton per meter square. The design wind speed is calculated by K1, K2, K3 into VB. Now the coefficient K1, this is known as the risk coefficient. The design wind pressure at any height above mean ground level is given by K into Vz square, Newton per meter square, and the value of K is 0.6 because we know we have wind pressure, and wind pressure we have that is 0.6 into Vz square, that is Pz wind pressure, we have that value. Answer we have that is B. Now purlin is designed as, we have to design it as flexural member, and that is again biaxial for biaxial moment, because our wind load is always perpendicular to the principal rafter, and that is away from the principal rafter. In the truss, for spacing of trusses up to 4 meter, purlins used are generally angle sections are used up to 4 meters. Purlin is designed for bending moment equal to, that is WL by 10, D option. So generally purlins are designed as partially continuous. We have simply supported WL by 8, and capital W is small w into L. So for fixed end we have WL by 12. So we have partially, so value is taken as WL by 10 given in IS 800 2007. Now the design wind speed is calculated. We have this formula, and K3 we have, that is topography factor, we have as K3. Now the wind load on a steel truss for an industrial building will depend upon location of the structure, shape of the structure, height of the structure, and all the above. So we have all, your wind load depends on all the above. Now the design wind speed is calculated, again same, only the coefficient of K2 we have terrain, height, and structure size factor. So above question you can see from this. In a roof supporting truss, the load is transmitted. So load sheet roofing load comes on your purlins, and from purlin we have to transfer it to the truss. So first to the truss, then the joints through purlins. So we have actually option, that is B option here. So whatever option I have mentioned, that is wrong one. So option, correct option is B, that is first to the purlins, then the joints, and then through the joints that is transferred to the trusses. So we have option B. I have mentioned over here A, but this is wrong answer. So we have answer that is B. First we have that is from roofing to the purlin, and from purlin to the joints, and through the joints that is transferred to the trusses. Then the partial safety factor for dead and live load in roof truss for limit state of serviceability. So try to understand this serviceability when we will say, then we have that values as 1 and 1. Allowable deflection for purlin in roof trusses is, if we will go to the again table number 6, then you have this value as L by 150. Then load combination in the design of roof truss. So we are going to use all three. Generally, third we have never critical condition. So first two we have considered, which will be any of the first two will be your critical load combination. Then internal air pressure for normal, medium, and large openings we have. So if we do not have any opening, then value is 0. Then for normal we have plus minus 0.2, for medium plus minus 0.5, and for large openings we have plus minus 0.7. So option is C. The slenderness ratio of a tie in roof truss is subjected to action of wind and seismic forces. Should not be greater than. Then we have this value as 350, which is option B. Then the slope of roof truss is equal to, we have 2 times pitch, because slope we have rise upon span by 2. So if we will write this, then we have slope that is equal to rise upon span by 2, and span by 2, that 2 goes up, rise upon span by 2, and then 2 goes up, and rise upon span we have actually rise upon span we have pitch, and therefore slope becomes 2 times pitch. Then the economic spacing of roof truss depends upon, actually we have cost of purlins and cost of roof coverings. B option. The member of a roof truss which supports the purlin known as, so principal rafter we have where we are going to place these purlins. Gantry girders are designed as laterally supported beams, as laterally unsupported beams using channel sections only. So your gantry girder may be laterally supported or laterally unsupported. So we have 1 and 2 are correct. Which of the following loads are to be considered? So while designing, we are going to consider first, second, and third. Wind loads are not there for your gantry girders. The maximum wind load is obtained when, so when our crane of crab is close to the gantry girder, then we are going to get maximum wind load. The bending moment due to dead load of girder is maximum at. So we have this maximum that is at center of span, because for dead load we have directly WL square by 8. So option is C. The maximum vertical deflection allowed for a gantry girder we have L by 500. Which of the following is correct regarding gantry girders? It is subjected to impact load, impacted load. No, we have impact load. Then it is laterally supported except at the columns. It should not be analyzed for unsymmetrical bending, and it is not subjected to longitudinal loads. So we have this A, it is subjected to impact loads. It is laterally supported except at the columns. This is also not true always. It should not be analyzed. It is also analyzed for unsymmetrical bending, because we have channel sound compression flange, and it is subjected to longitudinal load also. For gantry girders carrying electrically operated or overhead traveling cranes, the lateral forces. So if we have electrically operated and then lateral forces, we have 10%. And if we have that as hand operated, then we can have this, we have 5% in that case. So for gantry girders carrying hand operated cranes, the vertical forces are increased, and we have that is 5% of weight up crab and weight lifted on the crane. For gantry girders carrying electrically operated overhead traveling cranes, the vertical forces are increased by. So here we have to increase these for 25% of maximum static wheel load. The position of loads on gantry girder for maximum bending moment. So we have to study that moving loads, and in moving load, maximum bending moment will occur when one of the wheel load and centroid of the load groups are equidistant from the center of the span. Here we have only two loads. So we are going to say one of the load and CG of the load should be equidistant from the centroid. So we have option is B. The position of loads on gantry girder for maximum shear force. So one of the wheel load we should have on any of the support that will it gives us maximum shear force. In gantry girder, channel is placed on compression flange so that our value of I increases, but here our interest is to increase the value of section modulus of compression flange. And why compression flange? Because we have stresses on compression flange which are due to lateral loads, which are due to longitudinal loads. And for that one, if our neutral axis shifted upward, so automatically my Z will be larger one, and that will reduces your value of stresses. So answer we have that is so that section modulus of compression plan increases. So these are the questions which are related with the trusses. So problems I have not considered over here. Small problems you can go through the books and you can solve the problems with which we can solve very easily. So that I have not included, that you can go through the books and from books you can easily solve it and you can go over there. So we have about these MCQs which are related with your steel structures. So thank you. So today we will stop here only.